Hi, Avs fans around the Europe and around the world. Happy weekend to everybody. The NHL is almost back for the Avalanche. Delighted to be joining the game with all our Eurolanche friends. We've got David from Slovakia there, and also we're going to welcome back Attila. But Thomas, I know you've just joined us live, so welcome to you, my friend, and thank you for your patience as well. And our special guest today, and none other than Altitude Sports, Conor McGahey. Conor, first of all, just chatting to you, man. How are you getting on? Are you enjoying finally the NHL is back? I know you've been very busy this week.
For sure. And Mike, let's see if I can do this right. Konisatatu? Is that is that okay? How do we do it?
Tamagomoy, Conor. I was gonna say it's Tamagomoy. I was gonna say something else in Irish, but we will leave it for that.
Actually, that's all that I know because Porrig Smith hasn't taught me anything else. So that's as far as I can go.
I'm very much looking forward to getting Porg on the show at some point. And in case anybody's wondering, we're speaking Irish here, guys. Now, I'm going to be really, really annoying and jump on this conversation for a second, Conor. Over in Ireland, you would actually be called Conor McGahey. Have you got any Irish blood, I'm presuming, with that name?
Absolutely. As far as I can tell, I know where McGahey's over here, but McGahey's there, I think, are from Antrim in the north, as far as as far as I can tell. I think. But I've been to that beautiful country. It is wonderful, and look forward to going back again.
It's the best country in Europe, Conor, but we'll not tell any of these boys here.
Something tells me some of the other guys right here might have a problem with that statement, but it's a worthy battle to be had.
It's definitely an interesting one. Tell you what, Conor, we will come back to your background even just in the middle of the show if possible. I was going to talk to you about that for a minute, but let's get the rest of the guys in. David, Thomas, Attila, guys, Wednesday night. I mean, I wouldn't say the game against the Wild was a wild game, but I guess starting with you, David, and then maybe going David, Conor, Thomas, and Attila. What were your thoughts on the game on Wednesday? Are you happy it's now over and we're almost there, or did anything stand out for you?
For playing watch hockey in the middle of summer in July, and after a very long break, it was like 4 months. And I hope that you see me, guys.
We can hear you. Don't worry.
You hear me?
Mm-hmm. Can hear you. Don't worry. It's all good.
Sorry, because I didn't see you. Okay, so little bit weird game to watch the hockey in the middle of July, and after so long break, it was like usual off season, 4 months. But despite that, and with no games before, I think that the Avalanche players played a very solid game, really fast pace. Like there was no break between the last game against the Rangers and now, and it was very good. Of course, there were some small mistakes and those back, but I think it's a matter of 3 games, and they will be ready for the regular playoffs.
I think I got the gist of what you were saying there as well. It was an interesting game, Conor. Did you find it weird in the sense that you weren't really close to the team, or did you enjoy the fact that it was the first game in 4 months, as David said?
Answers to both are yes. I mean, that's the first game since I've been in this position that I've not been with the team, either preseason, regular season, or postseason. We are regional broadcasts and radio not allowed to be in the bubble with the team, so we had to make do otherwise. I posted a picture to Twitter of our setup. I was actually doing it from the TV booth at Pepsi Center because it had more space and connectivity, while Mark Mosier, Peter McNabb, Kyle Keefe, Mark Rycroft were all down at the Altitude Studios, which is a separate building south of Denver. So we made it work. It was a little bit more difficult, but it was good to be calling hockey again. And I think David's right. I think there was a lot of things that they sort of hopped right back into it. I mean, it was a 13-day training camp, and training camp is never that long. Overall, yes, with preseason games, 6 of them sprinkled in there. But usually you have 3 or 4 days of actual practice, and then you hop into to actual game situations. So the tough part was a 13-day training camp. And they refined some things, and some other things still need to be fixed. Taking 8 penalties will not do. However, the Avalanche penalty kill before basically since mid-February to the pause was the best in the NHL. I think they killed off 35 of 37. They killed off 7 of 8 last on Wednesday versus Minnesota. So that was a bright spot for me. The goaltending looked pretty good. Grubauer a little bit unlucky on that stall goal, but he gets the win with 18 saves. Pavel Francouz comes in, does not allow any goals, and so it's going to be interesting because a lot of teams around the league made the decision to split their goaltenders halfway through the second period and see who's going to go the distance, play those round robin games, and then ultimately start as far as the top 4 seeded teams go in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I thought, all things considered, they look pretty good. If it counted, that would have been Gabriel Landeskog's 3rd game-winning goal versus the Wild this year. He's already got 2. So the big boys showed up, and I think, this is the first time we've had a mostly healthy team in a long, long time, and that could go a long way for this Avalanche club.
Absolutely, and I think you're spot on there. And what you're saying, like it's obviously been a considerable amount of time, but that freshness could give them that opportunity going into the playoffs now and seeing what. I'm sorry, in the postseason and seeing what happens. Thomas, good to meet you, my friend. Did you get a chance to watch the game on Wednesday?
Actually not. I had to catch the highlights on Thursday morning, and I was really impressed with what I saw. I was really happy to see my boy Donskoy score the first goal like he did at the beginning of the season. So I was really happy with that.
Yeah.
For me, the team looked really well. They played as a solid unit. A bit unlucky with one of those 2 goals, but I think if they keep on playing together, the routines will come back, and I think we can have a very long playoff run this year, and hopefully lift the cup.
Hopefully, man. I know there's going to be a big meetup in Prague planned, or somewhere planned, or Bratislava, or somewhere planned. If it does happen, we'll see what happens. Attila, we were talking on Monday or Tuesday about this, and I know you were very excited for this preseason, postseason weird game. Did you watch it live? Did you enjoy it on Wednesday night?
Yes, I watched it. I was fully prepared. I mean, I had the beer in my hand. I took the pizza out from the oven 2 minutes before the game started. So everything properly, it's kind of a celebration, summer hockey, come on. And I was a bit surprised on a positive way that the team was explosive from the very first moment. I expected a little bit more like slow foot something. Obviously, there was a little bit of disciplinary issues with all the penalties, but after a while, to be honest, I even had a feeling that the guys just want to practice penalties, and Landeskog, as a good captain, is just causing them on purpose. But it's always good to beat the Wild, obviously, and my concern that they will take the round robin a little bit like easy, just to not get injured something. I don't have that concerns anymore. I think everybody will go into full throttle, and I have a good feelings about it.
We will see what happens in that sense. Guys, look, all I will say about the game is this. I nearly jumped out of my window whenever that goal from Nathan McKinnon went in to make it, I think it was 2-1. What a goal. Sound like an absolute soccer fan here, but what a goal. What a finish for a preseason game. I don't know, guys. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm just actually seeing, as Attila was speaking there, the game is not on live on TV on Sunday in the UK and Ireland, so I'm going to have to get NHL TV. That's fantastic. Connor, maybe you could hook us up with a few altitude logins. Look, just before we actually...
they don't exist. The good news is that over there in Europe, the NHL.TV, I believe, is discounted. I think it's like $4 or $5 US. So it's they're giving them an incentive for people to purchase, especially outside of the US, to watch in the postseason.
Yeah, I'm just seeing Columbus at Toronto's on whenever Colorado's playing on Monday morning for us, which is really fun in that sense. Connor, just before I guess all of us guys move on and talk about this big first game this weekend, just be interested to hear a little bit about you. Obviously, you work at altitude. You are a Denver native, if I'm correct, yeah?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So it must be a very proud moment to actually cover the Avs and work for altitude. What's the best thing about your job? Is it Moser? Is it seeing Vic Lombardi come in sometimes and joke about the Nuggets, or what is it for you?
Vic, he claims to be a hockey expert, which he is not by any stretch of the imagination. Mosier is a great human being, one of my best friends. Always makes me laugh. Peter McNabb is a massive pool of hockey knowledge. You could just sit and hear him tell stories. And we recorded a series of a podcast that I'm trying to get released. Hopefully that can happen as far as hockey stories with Peter McNabb. See if we can get those out eventually. But yeah, the crew is great. I was born and raised in the mountains west of Denver at a little town called Breckenridge, Colorado. That's my hometown. But I've been an Avs fan since the beginning. I've dreamed about this job since I was 10 years old. So I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to do it. And I think it makes a big difference when you're working in this business, you're excited for any gig that you get, any job. But when it's your hometown team, a team that you actually care very deeply about, as all of you do, I think that makes a huge difference, and I'm very lucky to do that. And I hope that it translates in how the game is covered. As far as Sunday goes versus St. Louis, St. Louis losing to Chicago in exhibition play the other night. That was the nightcap, I believe. The middle game on Wednesday. After the Avalanche played the Wild. And interesting because the road team could never win in the regular season series. The Avs lose both in St. Louis. St. Louis loses both in a big way at Pepsi Center later. Of course, they were supposed to play in Game 82 to conclude the regular season. But the game versus St. Louis will be a major test for the Avalanche to see if they can continue to adjust and get past what has been a really tough opponent, because you have unrelenting defensive form from their forward group. Colton Parayko is a menace on the back end that always seems to shut down Nathan McKinnon. So it's always a tough test. But they know that they beat him the last two times and put a lot of goals past Jordan Binnington, which doesn't happen very often. I think he has the second most wins since last January in the NHL to Andrei Vasilevsky. So they know they can beat him, but it's the type of team that they're going to need to beat in order to go far in the playoffs.
And if there ever was a moment to actually beat the Blues, it could be whenever they are maybe a little bit rusty on Sunday. We'll see what happens.
There
The
you
game,
go. Absolutely.
and we'll see what happens. The game is at 6:30 Eastern, which doesn't really help any of us lads, to be honest. It's going to be in the silly hours of the morning, but it's all good. David, I'm presuming you're obviously going to sit up late and watch that game. It's on NBCSN and NHL TV. Have you any plans for the game, and what do you expect on Sunday or Monday morning?
These three games I little bit consider for being exhibition games or preseason, because for me it doesn't matter if the Avs will win all of them or lose, because at the end they will have to go through the next 4 rounds of the playoffs. And for me also it doesn't matter who will they face, because if they want to win the cup, they need to beat every single team, or they have to be the best team. So for me it doesn't matter, but at the other side it gives a big benefit to the team in a comparison with other teams who will be playing for everything already since tomorrow, because Fs will get more time to be ready, prepare, and it's for me like a preseason. But before we will continue this round, I have one question on Conor, which really interests me. Conor, what is the difference between doing radio in the arena full of people and the hockey game itself, and now when there is only you?
Yeah, well, I talk to myself more often than you'd probably imagine, so this is another normal time for me. But it is interesting because when you have the headset on, you can't really tell your volume, so you could and your projection. And an arena is built for acoustics. That's just how it's been ever since the days of the Colosseum, say in Rome. And so even when you're perched high above, things ring aloud, and there were people working on the arena. They were actually putting the Nuggets court down on the floor because the Nuggets will do their broadcast from Pepsi Center. The entire crew will be there on the court. at the pregame desk up on press level where the hockey press box is. So they were putting the court down, and there I am, basically yelling like an idiot, way up on the 300 level, and everyone's like, "What is happening up there?" I will tell you, David, that I will take an arena full of fans because sports are about fans. Watching them on TV is nice, but as all of you know, there's nothing like attending a game in person, watching a game in person. That's how we all get our memories for the most part. And so I can't wait for that to be a reality again. And so I don't have to torture everybody with just me yelling at them for a long time. I can be drowned out a little bit. So that'll be nice.
It'll be funny whenever there's actually an overlap between Nuggets games and Avs games, and you're maybe sitting in the Pepsi Center whenever there's a broadcast going on.
Kosminski and I will be trading volleys back and forth.
Thomas, are you excited for Sunday night? Are you going to watch it live? And if so, or even if not, what do you expect? Because I do agree with what you're saying, David, but do you think the Avs will go out and obviously, hopefully dominate against the Blues?
Oh, that's a difficult question. For me, the Blues, they're a very strong team. They have lots of quality players, just like we do. And I just have big expectations of the entire series. I hope that both teams can stand up, that they can provide us with a nice game of hockey. And not at the end that we win it, of course. But I see myself as a hockey pundit, so I actually like to watch as many games as possible, and preferably quality games. So I don't mind getting up early or going to sleep late, depending on how you look at it. But would like to have value for money in that case and see plenty of goals, big hits, and just enjoy every single second of the game and be entertained in such a manner that I can keep on watching it and feel energized the day after to start the week in style. Hopefully with my offset on my head.
What country are you in, Thomas? Because I haven't.
I'm based in Belgium.
In Belgium, so I mean, it's only an hour ahead of me. So what? 12:30 in the morning, over at 3:00 in the morning. Get up at 9, get a coffee, easy, and a big win as well to celebrate. We will see what happens.
Well,
but obviously, sorry, go ahead.
One tip. When you are talking about watching games in the middle of the night, when I was student, I of course followed all games at 3 a.m. and so. But now when I have a job, I used to watch every single game, but I watch the game before I'm going to the work, and I fast forward already finished game because NHL.tv offers this, and in 1 hour I'm done with the whole game. I skip all commercials or stoppages, so just 1 hour and you are done.
I have two small kids, so my day starts at 5:30 every single day. So I need to have some sleep to survive the day.
You have to get up at 4:30 to watch the game in 1 hour.
If there was ever any doubt,
I would say I would skip sleep and just watch it live.
If there's any doubt about your guys' dedication, that should be put to bed right now, because I thought that I didn't sleep at all, and you guys, especially when Eurolanche comes to the United States, I can't believe the amount of places they go, and I'm pretty convinced that you guys never actually sleep. You just take turns driving a van or watching, and there's no actual real sleep that happens, which is great. You guys never cease to amaze me.
I don't know. I mean, it's probably a topic for a different show, because I found whenever I was in Denver, was it last December? I just bombed. I could and it was the first time, maybe I'm getting a little bit older, but the time difference was a little bit crazy for me, even though it's 7 hours. Sure. I'd say that everybody loved and raved your preview for the Minnesota Wild game, so I'm very excited to hear this. How much or how many goals are the Avs going to win by on Sunday night, and why?
The Avs are going to win for sure, but I'm not sure if I can predict what I would love to see when the Blues pull Binnington. I love to see when the guy is getting pulled because of 5-6 goals in the net already. Again, exactly. It's like a joy to my heart. Especially that last season they beat us constantly. So when finally the Avs figured out how to beat the Blues, it was like amazing. I think it was like 5 a.m. in the morning, and I was like being rather joyful. So
it can happen again at 5 a.m. in the morning.
I don't mind at all. It won't be like 3 a.m. or I don't know, something like that. midnight
Who
it
knows?
starts.
Who knows?
So I'm really looking forward for it, and I think it will be a tough game, tough physical battle. And I'm not going to make a secret. I expect these two teams to meet in the conference finals. So I think both teams will take it seriously.
Yeah,
Just
I
like
think
a
yeah.
demonstration to each other, that I'm still the better team.
I think it's going to be very tight. Now, hopefully that makes it very watchable and it is good quality hockey, but I think it will be tight. I have the Avs winning it 4-3. So that is my prediction. Connor, I'm gonna give you the last word here, if that's okay. Just obviously, if you compare what the Avs now have ahead of them in relation to what the Nuggets have, for example, in the NBA, there's less games, and then you've got that postseason structure. What do you think represents a positive outset for this Avs team when they've only got maybe 2 or 3 games before that starts?
It's a good question, and that's why people are. I feel like a lot more people are questioning why the NBA is playing 8 regular season games before their postseason begins. I think the balance that the NHL struck with their return to play plan is probably the best out of all sports that returned, because it seemed fair to everybody. Chicago, for example, probably didn't think that they had a shot to make the postseason, maybe hence the trade of Robin Lehner at the trade deadline to the Vegas Golden Knights. But here they are in, and they play the Edmonton Oilers in the first round. So it gives everyone who feasibly had a shot at making the postseason to do exactly that. And in order to set up seeding in the top 4 to do a round robin is a good idea. So I do like the plan and the format overall that the NHL has come up with. And as far as the Avalanche, I mean, they're a favorite all over the place. I mean, it's not even a dark horse or sneaky favorite from pundits around North America. They're you look at their roster and their postseason from last year, and a lot of people have a lot of faith in what the Avalanche can do and how far they can go. They made the switch, I feel like, a little bit earlier this season because there was a lot of question marks, because you sneak in as an 8th seed the last 2 years as pretty much an underdog, and this year with a bolstered roster, you had to flip the switch from underdog to favorite, and they were able to do that for the most part. Some down parts to the season, and obviously that's going to happen when you have an 82/70 game regular season. But I think they actually did that job rather admirably, switching from being the underdog, which can be very motivating, to being a favorite. And they're going to have to do that in the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. I looked this morning, and Vegas has the most favorable odds for Nathan MacKinnon to be the Conn Smythe Trophy winner. So that tells you where people are at as far as the Avs winning the cup, and what Nathan MacKinnon can do to, in Connor McDavid's building, make a case that Nathan MacKinnon is the best player in the world.
Yeah, the Avs are actually, I think they're either, if they're not favorite, they're second favorite over here with the bookmakers. So it will be interesting to see what happens. Guys, it's been again an absolute pleasure to have you on, and it's very nice to meet you, Thomas, and speak to you again, David and Attila and Connor. We massively appreciate you taking the time to speak to us, and
of
it
course,
really does mean a lot.
Anytime, I mean that more than happy to. It's easy to do, and it's really good to talk to and see you guys.
And you can check out Connor on Sports Social. I think it's on the Altitude Twitter each weekday as well. It's on in the evenings for us, but if you do have Twitter, just give it a follow. Usually on most days as well, especially with the current situation with lockdown. So check that out. And look, guys, thanks for your time. Connor, thank you very much as well.
You bet, fellas. Thank you.